Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever stood in front of a mirror and struggled to recognize the person staring back at you? Not because of how you look, but because of how far you've drifted from who you thought you were meant to be? Let me tell you something I've learned. Not from books, not from gurus, but from life's raw and relentless lessons. Confidence is not something you find. It's something you build, brick by brick, moment by moment, scar by scar. And today, I want to share with you 5 powerful ways to lift your confidence. Not the kind that needs applause, but the kind that echoes in silence when no one's watching. Embrace your story. Yes, yours is not broken. It is beautiful in its imperfection. Confidence blooms when you stop wishing to rewrite your past and start owning it. Every fall, every failure, every tear-stained chapter makes you whole, not weak. Wake, wear your story like armor, not shame. Speak kindly to yourself. We often say things to ourselves that we would never dare say to another soul. Why is that? Confidence cannot grow on a battlefield of self-criticism. Replace I can't with replace I cannot good enough with I'm evolving. The voice in your head should be your biggest cheerleader, not your worst enemy. Surround yourself with light you cannot shine if you're standing in the shadows of toxic people. Confidence rises in the company of those who remind you of your worth when you forget it yourself. Choose people who see your light, even when you're sitting in the dark. Celebrate small wins, we chase big victories, and overlook the quiet triumphs. Getting out of bed on a tough day, speaking up when your voice trembles, trying again after a failure. Confidence grows in these everyday victories. Applaud yourself for showing up. That is courage. That is strength. Be authentically you. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs your original spark. Confidence is not about being perfect. It's about being real. Vulnerably, unapologetically, authentically you. My friends, confidence is not a destination. It's a journey. Some days you will feel like a lion. Other days a whisper of who you were. But if you keep walking, with grace, with grit, and with your head held high, you will find that your confidence was never lost. It was just waiting for you to believe in yourself again. Confidence begins with a decision. Perhaps the hardest one you'll ever make, to own your story. All of it. The beautiful parts, the broken parts, the chapters you'd rather skip than the ones that still make your voice tremble. You see, we are often taught that confidence comes from success, from applause, from perfection. But real confidence, it is born the moment you stop running from your past and start standing in it with pride. There is a quiet strength in saying, yes, this is what I went through. And yes, I'm still here. Because survival is not weakness, it is resilience. Every scar on your soul is a signature of a lesson learned. Every fall was not failure. It was a rehearsal for strength. You didn't just get through life. You grew through it. And that growth is what makes your story extraordinary. Many of us walk through life wearing masks, trying to hide the things we think will make us look less worthy in the eyes of others. We shrink ourselves into silence, to shame, hoping that if we pretend long enough, the pain will disappear. But it doesn't. It doesn't. It only buries our light deeper. And there is nothing more painful than living as a stranger to your own truth. When you own your story, you reclaim your power. The power to say, this is who I am, and I no longer need to apologize for it. You stop seeking validation outside because you find peace inside. Confidence is not about having the perfect story. It's about making peace with the imperfect one you have. It's about saying, even though I've been through storms, I'm still standing. Even though I've been doubted, I believe in myself now. When you choose to be real, to tell your truth, to show your journey, you don't just give yourself freedom. You give others permission to be real too. You become a light in a world where so many are hiding in the dark. And that kind of confidence, rooted in truth, nourished by resilience, is unshakable. So if you're looking for confidence, don't look in the mirror for perfection. Look into your soul for honesty. Remember the battles you fought, the nights you've cried and still managed to wake up. The times you felt lost and still chose to keep going. That's where confidence lives. Not in pretending, but in embracing. Your story is not your shame. It's your strength. Own it. Speak it. Stand in it. Because the moment you do, you don't just lift your confidence, you lift your entire life. The way you speak to yourself matters more than anything anyone else could ever say to you. Inside your mind lives a voice, sometimes soft, sometimes loud, that narrates your life. And all too often, that voice becomes your harshest critic instead of your most loyal friend. But what if you change that voice? What if, instead of tearing yourself down, you chose to build yourself up? Confidence doesn't grow in a battlefield of self-doubt. It grows in a space where kindness is spoken fluently to yourself first. We are often taught to be kind to others, to lift them up when they fall, or to offer compassion when they are struggling. But no one teaches us to do the same for ourselves. And yet, confidence demands it. Because how can you ever feel worthy if the person who knows you best, you, is constantly reminding you that you're not enough? The truth is, we all have flaws. We all make mistakes. We all have moments when we don't meet our own expectations. But being human is not a crime, it's a miracle. And every time you fail and try again, every time you feel afraid but take one small step forward anyway, you deserve to be celebrated, not condemned. You deserve encouragement, not criticism. Start noticing the words you say to yourself. When you look in the mirror, what do you see? More importantly, what do you say? Are you focusing on what's wrong, or are you honoring what's right? Are you comparing yourself to others, or are you acknowledging your own path, your own pace, your own progress? To lift your confidence, become your own cheerleader. Speak to yourself with the same love you would offer to a friend who is struggling. Tell yourself that you're trying, and that trying is brave. Remind yourself that growth takes time, and that every step, no matter how small, is part of something beautiful unfolding. Positive self-talk is not about lying to yourself. It's not about pretending everything's perfect. It's about choosing a narrative that empowers you instead of breaking you. It's about recognizing your flaws and still saying, I am enough. It's about seeing your mistakes and still believing in your future. Confidence doesn't shout. It whispers in those quiet moments when you choose compassion over criticism. It rises each time you give yourself grace instead of guilt. And it thrives when you finally realize that your worth has never depended on perfection, but on your ability to love yourself, even when you're still a work in progress. So speak kindly to yourself, because your words shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your life. You are listening to everything you say. Make sure it's something worth hearing. The people you surround yourself with are like mirrors. They either reflect your light back to you or make you question if it was ever there. If you want to lift your confidence, you must take a hard, honest look at the voices around you. Not all of them deserve to stay. Some people may walk beside you, but quietly dim your spark. Others may cheer for you only when you're small enough not to threaten their own shine. And then there are the rare few who see your greatness even when you forget it yourself. Those are the ones who help you rise. Confidence is not built in isolation. It is nourished in connection, with people who remind you of who you are when life tries to make you forget. That's why your environment matters. The conversations you engage in, the energy you absorb, the people you call friends, all of it becomes part of your inner world. And if that world is filled with negativity, comparison, or silent envy, no matter how hard you try, your confidence will always feel like it's walking against the wind. Choosing the right people isn't about creating a circle that's perfect. It's about creating a circle that's safe. Safe to speak your truth. Safe to fail without judgment. Safe to dream out loud without being laughed at. You need people who will clap for you when you win and stand beside you when you lose. People who don't just tolerate your growth, but celebrate it. That kind of support doesn't inflate your ego. It builds your belief. It's okay to outgrow people. It's okay to walk away from relationships that leave you feeling smaller, heavier, or invisible. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. Because you deserve to be around those who see your value even when you're quiet, who respect your boundaries, and who inspire you to be your best. Not by pressuring you, but by believing in you. And here's something important. Be that person for others too. Confidence grows not just when you receive support, but when you give it. Uplift others without agenda. Celebrate their wins without envy. The more you give what you seek, the more it flows back to you. That's how true confidence works. It doesn't compete. It collaborates. It elevates. It expands. So take a look around. Who's in your life? Who gets the front row to your journey? And more importantly, who makes you feel like you can take on the world just by being yourself? Those are your people. Hold them close. Each days that faith in you echo louder than your fears. And when your confidence starts to fade, as it does for all of us sometimes, lean on their light until you remember your own. You were never meant to rise alone. Find the ones who lift you higher. And don't be afraid to walk away from anything that weighs you down. Confidence doesn't only come from the grand achievements, the loud applause, or the medals you hang on the wall. It is often born in the quiet, unseen moments, the ones that no one claps for. Waking up and facing the day when everything inside you wants to give up. Choosing to try again after falling short. Saying no when it's easier to say yes just to please others. These moments may seem small, but they are the building blocks of unshakable confidence. We live in a world obsessed with big wins. We are told to keep chasing the next milestone, the next big thing, the next level of success. But in that endless chase, we often overlook the progress that happens in the everyday. And the truth is, if you don't learn to celebrate the small victories, you'll never feel truly satisfied, even when the big wins come. Small victories are not insignificant. They are signs that you're showing up for yourself. They are evidence of your resilience. They remind you that even when life feels overwhelming, you are still moving forward, inch by inch, breath by breath. And that forward motion, however slow, is still progress. Think about the courage it takes to ask for help when your pride says, stay silent. Or the strength it takes to keep going after you failed. Or the bravery it takes to be honest with yourself about what you want. These moments don't always come with recognition, but they matter deeply. They're like invisible threads, slowly weaving confidence into the fabric of who you are. Every time you celebrate a small win, you send a message to yourself. I see you. I'm proud of you. You are doing well, and that message becomes your inner fuel. It becomes the gentle voice that carries you through hard days. It becomes the memory you reach for when doubt tries to creep in. Celebrating small wins also helps shift your mindset from lack to gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you haven't achieved yet, you start noticing how far you've come. You start recognizing your effort, your growth, your courage. That shift alone can change everything. Because when you believe you're making progress, you're more likely to keep going. And confidence thrives in momentum, so don't wait for the world to validate you. Don't wait for a big moment to feel worthy. Validate yourself along the way. Celebrate the tiny steps. Write them down if you have to. Speak them out loud. Share them with someone who gets it. Because each of those small wins is a promise kept to yourself, and confidence is built on the foundation of those promises. You are not behind. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are evolving, one quiet victory at a time. Recognize those moments. Honor them. Because they are shaping you into someone stronger than you even realize. There is something incredibly powerful about choosing to be yourself in a world that constantly tells you who you should be. From a young age, we are shaped by expectations. How to speak, how to look, how to behave, how to succeed. And somewhere in that noise, we begin to forget the sound of our own voice. But confidence does not grow in imitation. It grows in authenticity. When you try to fit into someone else's idea of success, beauty, or worth, you shrink. Not just your voice, but your spirit. You begin to doubt your instincts, your dreams, even your identity. And that self-doubt chips away at your confidence every single day. The truth is, you were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out, not by being louder than everyone else, but by being more you than anyone else ever could be. Living authentically doesn't mean you have all the answers. It doesn't mean you never feel fear. It simply means you choose to show up as yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when people don't understand you, even when you feel like the only one walking that path. Because deep down, you know that pretending to be someone else is far more exhausting than being true to who you are. You don't need to change your voice to be heard. You don't need to change your dreams to be accepted. The right people, the ones who matter, will respect you not despite your truth, but because of it. The authenticity is magnetic. It draws in the people, opportunities, and experiences that are truly meant for you. And with every step you take in alignment with your true self, your confidence strengthens. Many people confuse confidence with perfection. But real confidence comes from vulnerability, from the willingness to be seen as you really are. Flawed, in progress, learning, growing. That kind of honesty is rare, and it is beautiful. It's what makes others feel safe to be real too. And in that shared space of truth, something amazing happens. Connection deepens, judgment fades, and courage rises. Yes, being authentic takes courage. It means risking rejection. It means saying no when others expect a yes. It means standing your ground when it would be easier to follow the crowd. But every time you honor your truth, you plant a seed of self-respect. And over time, that respect blooms into lasting, unshakable confidence. So take off the mask. Stop performing for approval. Let people see the real you. Your quirks, your questions, your creativity, your quiet strength. You were not made to be a copy. You were made to be an original. And the moment you start living that truth, you don't just feel more confident. You become unstoppable. Because when you walk in your truth, there is no competition, no comparison. There is only clarity, courage, and the deep, powerful confidence that comes from being fully, unapologetically yourself. Confidence is often misunderstood. People think it's something you either have or you don't, like a natural gift bestowed on the lucky few. But the truth is, confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's not a destination you arrive at one day and never leave. It's a practice, a choice you make over and over again, especially on the days when it feels hardest. Some mornings you'll wake up feeling strong, ready to take on the world. Other days, doubt will sit heavy on your chest, and even the smallest step forward will feel like climbing a mountain. That's normal. Confidence doesn't mean you never feel fear, insecurity, or uncertainty. It means you don't let those feelings stop you. It means you choose to move anyway. Think of confidence like a muscle. You don't grow it by reading about it or waiting for it to magically appear. You grow it by using it. Daily, intentionally. Each time you speak up even when your voice shakes. Each time you try something new despite the fear of failure. Each time you show up fully as yourself, you are exercising that muscle. Over time, it becomes stronger, more natural, more a part of who you are. But just like any muscle, confidence can weaken if neglected. That's why it requires consistency. You don't go to the gym once and expect to be fit for life. You don't do one brave thing and expect to feel fearless forever. Confidence asks you to show up again and again, especially after setbacks, especially when you feel like hiding, especially when the voice in your head is loud with doubt. One of the most powerful ways to strengthen your confidence is to keep the promises you make to yourself. Not the big dramatic ones, but the small ones. The ones no one sees. Waking up when you said you would. Speaking kindly to yourself when you want to tear yourself down. Taking the first step toward a dream, even if no one else believes in it yet. Every time you follow through, you send a message to yourself. I can trust me. And trust is the foundation of confidence. There will always be challenges. There will always be critics, both outside and within. But when you practice confidence daily, you build a quiet resilience. You learn to anchor yourself not in the outcome, but in the effort. Not in perfection, but in presence. So let go of the idea that confidence is something you either have or don't. Stop waiting to feel ready. Start choosing to be courageous in the small, ordinary moments of life. Confidence will meet you there, not as a loud declaration, but as a steady companion. And over time, you'll realize this truth. Confidence doesn't come from never falling. It comes from rising again every day with your head a little higher, your heart a little stronger, and your belief in yourself a little deeper.